name is Megan Griffin, and I am one of the co-leads for the IPhO National Fellows Council Diversity Initiative. And today I would like to welcome Collins to our July interview. Thank you so much, Collins, for joining us today. We have a few questions to ask you. We're very excited to hear what you have to say. I know you have a lot of great experiences to share. Before we get started with the questions, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Again, my name is Asamoah. Second year Global Patient Safety Fellow at UCB. And I'm also an IPhO co-lead within the NFC Fellows database.
Awesome, thank you for that intro. All right, without further ado, the first question we have for you, Collins, what was your motivation to pursue the pharmaceutical industry as a career path?
Yeah, I think you could probably relate to this. Going into pharmacy school, all we could think of is retail, right? But while in pharmacy school, we learn about different ways we can leverage ourselves as PharmDs. As a result, I developed. I found out about IPhO, which is where I started to learn a little bit more about industry. When I first discovered industry, as a PharmD, there are a lot of areas where you can go into, within the pharmaceutical industry. I thought of medical affairs, regulatory affairs, all that you can think of. But it came down to, narrowing my focus to one specific area. But to go to your question, what motivated me? I think for me, it was being able to make an impact on a global level. That was my biggest drive. And the background to that, also being able to witness the innovation and the cutting edge science that goes to bring in, medications to patients. I think those were the big factors, the things that really moved me to pursuing a career. But to go into the little things, right, flexibility, the autonomy to work on my own, I also room for, growth, career growth and things of that nature. These were all things that really motivated me to pursue a career in the industry.
Awesome. I can definitely relate, for one thing, with the intro to industry through IPhO, and then your motivation for joining the industry as well. Yeah. All right, so let's dig deep into diversity, equity, and inclusion, DE&I. What do you think that companies should be doing to continue making progress?
I think that's a very excellent question, Megan. So we can look at this from two angles, right? For clinical trials perspective, and from an employee, employer's perspective as well. So for clinical trial perspective, as you may know, that there are lots of connotations, with the pharmaceutical industry having to deal with, our clinical trials, how we are not really well invested, and through clinical trials, people are dying and things of that nature, right? Using people as scapegoats and whatnot. But I think it all starts with education, right? Educating the populations, letting them understand the point of the clinical trials. And one big thing about D&I in clinical trials is it gives different populations, different people from different backgrounds access to medications, right? So let's say in the clinical trials where we have 95% Caucasian males, right? People from different backgrounds are less likely to use this medication because it hasn't been well tested in their ethnicity or their populations.
Exactly.
So I think that is an area where we can definitely improve on. And I know a lot of pharmaceutical companies have ongoing talks about this as well. So I think that's one area in clinical trials, definitely an area where we should look at. But then on the other hand, employer-employee perspective as well. Also hiring people from different backgrounds, different ethnicity, right, brings about different values to the company. We all share ideas, we all share different perspectives, all to bring on the common goal that a company has, which is delivering patients, safe and efficacious medications. So.
Absolutely, I love that. So we have two perspectives here. We have the people that we hire, our talent acquisition, and as well as clinical trials, and those are great things to focus on. Thanks. All right, now switching gears just a little bit to dive into your personal experiences again. Could you elaborate on your career history and summarize your day-to-day in your role?
Yeah, like most pharmacists, of course, started working in a retail pharmacy setting, as a pharmacy technician, pharmacy intern while in pharmacy school. That's pretty much my experience, outside of the industry, as a pharmacy technician, as a pharmacy intern. But Here at UCB, currently, like I said before, second year fellow. So currently working with safety risk management team, and within the safety risk management team, I'm working on two departments, which is the safety right analysis team and also the patient safety units, which deals with the different drugs that we have here at UCB. So my day to day is pretty tough to describe, but I'm gonna try my best. So on a day to day, I work with a lot of safety scientists, safety physicians, and a lot of safety leads. We do a lot of signal detection activities. We look at different reports. We do a whole bunch of analyzing data, safety data that we're getting from let's say from the case processing team. When we get a new case, right, we look at these cases and we analyze it and things of that nature. On the other hand, I'm also working with the safety analysis and writing team. This is where we author a lot of the reports, like our DSUR, our PSUR, which is currently something I'm working on also. So we do a lot of the reports. So after we have the safety scientists look into the data for us, we then prepare the reports with the data that's been analyzed by the safety scientists. So that's sort of my day-to-day now and what I'm currently doing. So the safety risk management team, rotating between safety analysis and writing and the different patient safety units here at UCB.
Awesome, sounds interesting. Even though regulatory, of course, has my heart, I've always thought that safety was really interesting. Would you say that authoring is the most time-consuming part?
100%, definitely 100%.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you have any tips for productive networking with industry professionals?
Yeah, this is actually a tip from one of my mentors. You want to be able to make meaningful connections. I think oftentimes, when we have students reach out to us to learn more about our role, that a lot of them, a lot of the time it's more so for screen time, right? Just to get face time. But I think making meaningful connections, could be very powerful, and also be very intentional in what you want. Are you looking for a mentor? Are you looking for a coach? Are you looking for a sponsor, right? Let that be known, as your meeting, for your meeting with this individual that you're reaching out to. And I think ultimately, making meaningful connections, meaning not just connecting just this one time, right? In the future, are you going to reach back out to them, letting them know how things are going with your life? So definitely making meaningful connections, when you reach out, ask insightful questions, which are going to put us on our toes as well. I think these are tips that I use personally to get to where I am today.
Excellent advice. I think I got similar advice from a mentor as well. And I love that you hit on being intentional. I think that's the biggest takeaway there.
Yeah.
All right, so now, what skills would you say are most important for a PharmD student to develop in order to succeed in the industry?
Yeah, another good question, Megan. I think I have three, which I would like to highlight. First one would be communication skills. Within the industry, a lot of the things we do are through communication, whether it be verbal communication, written communication, right? You have to be able to articulate this information or dissect it the way it's being, relayed to you. Next would be public speaking. Very often, we have to give presentations. And you have to be able to speak, very confidently and very boldly, when you're giving a presentation as well. So these are things students can brush up on now, before they get into the industry. And lastly, project management, time management skills. Like I said before, being able to work, the autonomy, was part of the reasons why I decided to, pursue a career in the pharmaceutical industry. In order for you to have this autonomy, you have to have proper project management skills and time management skills, right? Knowing when to prioritize which tasks, knowing when your deadlines are due and things of that nature. So that'll be the top three skills I would highlight for students to have for a role in the pharmaceutical industry.
Excellent. We're gonna have to bookmark this video, you guys. Excellent gems being dropped here. Wrapping up here with our final question for you today. What does work-life balance look like for you, and how do you prioritize this important aspect of your career?
Yeah, I think this is a fun question to end off. What does work-life balance look like for me? I think to me it's really putting myself first, right? Making sure your mental is good, because if you're really not in the right mental space, can you really do work? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So definitely putting yourself first, putting your mental first, making sure everything is good with you. It's challenging, right? We always say put yourself first, but you also know you have work that you have to do, right? The deadlines you have to meet. So you just have to find, a fine balance between, working a lot and not working so much. For me personally, I try to work very early, just so I can meet all my deadlines, give myself adequate time to, work on my projects. But of course, there are going to be times where there's going to be ad hoc, things that are going to come where you have to, fit into your schedule. Those are the times where you have to go the extra mile, right? If you usually work till 5, maybe you have to go till 7, 8, right? But that shouldn't be something you're always doing. Once in a while it's okay to work a little extra. But again, if you feel like you're tired, right, take a break. Your mental, like I said, if it's not working right, you can't work right. You can't really cope correctly. So that is my motto. Putting myself first, before anything else.
Yeah, that reminds me of the put your own oxygen mask on first, right? And work-life balance is so important to me. And I think one thing in industry that everybody says is that there are like highs and lows. So it's sometimes where you're busier than others, and like you said, if you are super busy, that should not be a consistent thing. And so you've got to try to enjoy the lows too. So
for sure.
All right, thank you so much, Collins. This has been an excellent interview. Thank you for sharing your experiences, and we look forward to sharing this with everyone.
Yeah, thank you for having me.